All right, guys, let me know how I sound. Krista, thank you for the 5x5. Appreciate it. Dobie, Joe, Tia, Lisa, Kathy, Ozark, Loretta, Visit, Johnny, thank you for the 5x5. Raccoon Eyes, Ikate, thank you for the 5x5. Old Man, Let's Go, Party, Brian, Prep to Adapt, King, Indigo, Evolving, Eric, Janine, thank you for the 5x5. Grit and Grace, Crow, Kathleen, South Florida, thank you for the 5x5. Bat and Poppy, Water Tiger, Michelle, Wanda, RDN, thank you for 5x5. Donovan, Ozark, Jeep Dog, Cowboy, thank you for 5x5. Francine, F you all. Hudson Valley, what's going on? Joanne, Blackjack, Keeble, Jacob, Michigan, Elaine, South Q, Susie Q, excuse me, thank you for the 5x5. GABA Network, Indigo, or Incognito Prepper, Sabrina, Ron, Jeep Girl, Michael, Smoking Swamp, Peaceful Prepper, thank you for 5x5. Nora Tech, Ryan, Comet Moon, Forest Dog, Lawrence, Paul F. This is a lot today. Dark Strife, thank you for the 5x5. Paula, Huts, John, Tyler, What a Dude, Kitty, thank you for the 5x5. Low Country, Misha, my God, Patty S, thank you for the 5x5. Dan and Joe, all right, and 1 second after, thank you for the 5x5. My God, that was a lot today. Holy shit. All right, Lonnie, Moose, and Be Spooky. Thank you for 5x5. Lost a minute on 5x5s now. Blackjack, who gives a shit? I can make up that minute for going a little longer. But anyway, everybody else who's putting the 5x5s in, thank you. Sunshine, Lexi, Kendall, Sojourner. Appreciate it, guys. All right, so today, well, rather tonight, excuse me, Biden wanting to start World War III is the topic for tonight before he leaves, right? And when I read that he authorized Ukraine to do what they did, rather, excuse me, I was staring at the fucking TV screen like, you fucking kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? How did... And the crazy part about it, it was so obvious why he did what he did. Like, there's no... They could try everything in their powers to explain away what he did, and it doesn't matter what excuse they give. There's only one excuse that I'll accept, and it's the fact that he did this because the the Biden administration lost the election. Or rather, Kamala Harris lost the election and Trump won. That is the only reason why they did this. Being that Russia was looking to sit down with Trump and have a peace talk about what to do next and how they were going to go forward with the peace talk for Ukraine and Russia. And then Biden turns around and goes, fuck it, launch them, and then gives them the authorization to use their long-range missiles. I'm sitting here like, you can't deny that this isn't like a sore loser moment where they're like, we lost the election? Really? Fuck it. Let's just start World War III before we leave the office. I suspect with that move, they're going to do some shady shit at the border. I think they're going to pull off the mother of all like invasions at the border, like letting more people in kind of deal. Because why not? Why not fuck everything up so badly that he can't fix it? And listen, guys, Trump's in office. Trump is not automatically going to make things better. In our heads, and for a lot of people, they're like, oh man, it takes a while to make everything better. Devotee, they can still have peace talks. Not if Russia does what I think they're going to do next. If they launch any kind of tactical nuclear weapon, peace talks are off the table. It's simple as that. Unless they detonate, and then like Ukraine's willing to forgive, which the people of Ukraine are not willing to forgive. Unless they detonate them on battleground, they could let it go. But if they detonate a small tactical nuke in like a Ukrainian city or town, That can't be excused. There's like no way, shape, or form that could be excused. So what the Biden administration is doing right now is muddying the waters, big time, and they're throwing everything they can into it. They're fucking acid. I mean, you name it, they're throwing it all in there just to fuck the whole thing up. And it's such a sore loser tactic. It's insane. Yeah, Moose. I think I got an article on the UK and where the UK is, at least where they launched their new weapon, the new weapon systems what they got. What is it called? Not the Hercules. Oh my God, I was just reading it today too, and I fucking had the name on the what you call it, the Archer, right? The 55 millimeter gun. They're in the Arctic Circle and testing that out, 70 miles from Russian border. Why are they there? And I saw the video. I'm like, I saw the video. I thought they were like in Ukraine in the area. They're in the Arctic Circle. I'm like, why the fuck are they all the way up there or down there? Antarctica is below. Arctic Circle above, right? So I'm like, why are they there? I see these guys bundled up and shit. I'm like, I didn't think it was that cold in Ukraine. And then I looked at the video a little longer, and they said in the Arctic Circle, 70 miles from. I was like, holy shit. Then you got Sweden and Finland warning their people on how to survive a nuclear attack. Yo, craziness is all over the place. NATO nations will get hit first. Yeah, no shit. No shit. It's undoubtedly going to be a shit show if Ukraine continues to do what they do. But I was surprised at Russia's response, being that Russia should have been smart enough to go, they did this because, and then X, Y, and Z it. You know what I mean? Listen, Russia has to defend themselves. They have to. They can't just sit idly by and take rounds. They have to do something. So I do agree with them reacting the way they did. And they shot him out of the sky, so it wasn't that bad, I guess. I don't know. Listen, the whole thing is shit. But the weapon system that the United States allowed the Ukraine to fire was the Army Tactical Missile System known as ATACMS? No, I said that wrong. ATACMS. I don't know how you can pronounce that. But that was the weapon system that we used, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. Yeah, that was the system that the Ukrainian used. Excuse me, not us. Now, this weapon system was sent to Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken, a few months ago, or at the very least a few weeks ago. It was sent to them, and they were sitting on it, and they were told not to use it until given authorization to do so. ATACMS. Is that it? ATACMS? ATACMS. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Big Chap and Johnny D. ATACMS. And someone said ATACMS. How do we pronounce it? Thank you for helping me out. So anyway, I got a couple articles to read tonight. Not too many, actually. But there was a rebuttal. No, that's for something else later tonight. So anyway, Russia and Trump want to talk about peaceful, what you call it in the Ukraine, a peaceful resolution. I don't see, if a tactical nuclear weapon is used, I don't see a talk coming out of that. I really don't. Because I think things are going to get bad because of emotions, because of anger, because Ukraine's like, how dare they? And then, some reason or another, the UK is going to get involved. If it happens now, we'll get involved, and then all hell will break loose. Now, if this is it until inauguration, things should be okay. But again, Trump was only buying us 4 years, guys. He's not buying us any more time than that. A lot of people seem to think he's going to save America. He's going to delay America's inevitable bullshit. That's the gist of it. JD, you know what? I find it interesting that the Biden administration hasn't gone to Putin to have a peace talks. Maybe the Russian administration or Putin's administration doesn't take them seriously. That's the only thing I can think of. I can't think of anything else because why wouldn't any responsible president who is the leader of the free world and all eyes are always on the United States, why wouldn't you go to Russia yourself and sit and have a sit down and talk about how to get out of this? Right? And so being that they're not doing that, listen, I don't know if they offered. We can't say they did or it didn't. There's always secret phone calls that we'll never know about, or we won't know about till like years later when they do a documentary on this, and then they talk about like all the phone conversations they had. You know. But as Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival just put it, nobody's going to save you. You're going to save yourself. So we all need to be ready for whatever happens next. Period. There is no... Other nations are preparing their people for something that's about to happen, whatever that might be. We, unfortunately, are talking about the Mike Tyson fight being affixed, Pete Diddy and his bullshit, though that's I take that seriously. All of this shit, Whoopi Goldberg and the whole bakery nonsense, like, we are focused on that, and we should be focusing the American people to prepare for whatever happens next. So, and granted, a lot of people say that they're not going to bomb us because they want us. I don't know. Russia doesn't give a shit about that. China does. Russia doesn't give a fuck about the land over here. The Chinese do. That's probably what would stop them. But the Chinese and the Russians are having a silent fallout. So there is that. A lot of people are not, they're not talking about it much, but if you research it, or rather, if you Google it, you'll see it. Why do I keep saying Google it? Just put it in somebody's fucking search engine, and you'll find some articles on the silent fallout that they're having. It's not a bad one, but they're drifting apart, like a relationship, like a bad relationship. So I find it interesting that that's happening with them, and nobody, like mainstream media here, is not talking about it at all. Meanwhile, it's happening, and again, it's not bad. I don't think they're going to go to blows over this, but they are definitely. Listen, when they teamed up the first time, I'm like, that relationship is not going to last. It can't. There's no way that the Chinese and the Russians relationship is going to last when both of those parties are powerhouses that want to be respected. Did Congress approve this? Sojourner, I don't think so. I don't think so. Matter of fact, so later tonight, I want to talk about, on the Angry Truth channel, we're going to talk about the Trump decision to use military troops. There are 2 articles I'm going to read. One is about what Trump said, and another one is sort of a rebuttal to that. So we should, hopefully tonight, you guys join me on the Angry Truth channel, and we'll talk about it there. But as far as Biden allowing, let me pull up an article and see what his reasoning was, because again, when I first heard it, I was like, you gotta be fucking, like, what kind of, this is some shit out of a nightmare. It's just like, you know what, guys, fuck it, let's turn this place into a dust bowl and let fucking Biden fix it up. And they're probably gonna leave and go to whatever country they're gonna go to. They're probably not gonna stop here. I don't know what the fuck's going on in the chat, but all right. Blocked here too. SDK47, you're not blocked if we can read what you're saying. But yeah. Anyway, fuck Biden 2028. He would be. Listen, I would be surprised if Biden makes it to 2028. Like, really surprised. All right, so this article is from the BBC News. I'm going to put it in the chat, and you guys can read it if you want. I saw this one earlier, but I didn't write it. Anyway, Biden allows Ukraine to strike inside Russia with missiles. U.S. President Joe Biden has given the green light for Ukraine to use long-range missiles supplied by the United States to strike Russia, U.S. officials say. The move marks a major change in policy for Washington, which had refused for months to agree to Kyiv's request of authorization to use the ATACMS missiles outside its own borders. On Sunday, Ukrainian President Zelensky, reacted to the news, which came via briefing from the U.S. official, saying such things are not announced. Missiles speak for themselves. Okay. Russian President Vladimir Putin has previously warned Western nations against such a move, saying it would represent the NATO military alliance direct participation in the Ukraine war. He was yet to comment on the latest development, although other senior Kremlin politicians described it as a serious escalation. The decision on ATACMS is couched in terms of being limited to defense of Ukraine forces inside Russia's Kursk region, where Kyiv launched a surprise incursion in August. Now, when Biden announced this, what I'm not sure of, and maybe one of you guys can correct me, what I'm not sure of is, when he announced it, did the attack already happen? Did they already attack Russia? Or did he announce it and then Ukraine was like, all right, launch it, and sort of gave Russia a heads up what was going to happen next? Because I'm a little, I never read like everything that comes out on this. It's impossible to. So I'm trying to figure out whether or not they announced it after the attack or before the Ukraine attacked Russia. In effect, the Biden administration is telling Ukraine that it will support its efforts to hold on to the small chunk of Russian territory it currently occupies as a powerful bargaining chip for any possible negotiation in the future. Some fucking Russian asshole with a some Ukrainian asshole with a fucked up name. I think it's Siri Kazan. Anyway, chairman of the Kyiv-based Ukrainian Security and Cooperation Center told the BBC that Joe Biden's decision was very important to the country. It is not something that will change the course of war, but I think it will make our force more equal. The ATACMS can reach 186 miles. Unnamed U.S. officials have told the New York Times and Washington Post that Biden's approval of the use of these weapons came in response to Russia's decision to allow North Korean soldiers to fight in the Ukraine. That was the reason why he allowed it, which is absolute and utter bullshit. That is the worst excuse you can ever think of. I never heard of such a bullshit excuse. Like, I could see if Russia bombed them or did something, they're like, you know what? Now use those missiles. But because they have North Korean soldiers, which, by the way, North Korean soldiers are deserting in Russia, disappearing. A lot of them are being dragged back and or deported back to North Korea. And if they go back to North Korea, you know what that means. Adios. A lot of them are distracted with the Western world on their phone. So they're looking at porn and being distracted by that. They're looking at food that they thought they could never eat, and they pretty much won't because they're on the battlefield. But still, they're being distracted by all of this shit that their country blocked off from them. Like, they can watch all these YouTube videos now. So they're being distracted like all the way across. So they're not very effective soldiers. Nonetheless, to use this as an excuse to use long-range missiles to fire deeper into Russia because they hired some yokels to fight, that's a bullshit excuse. Mr. Kazan said Sunday decision had came ahead of what was an expected assault by Russia and Korean troops designed to dislodge Ukrainian forces from the Russian Kursk region. The offensive was expected within days. Ukraine had earlier estimated there to be 11,000 North Korean soldiers in Kursk. President Biden's decision will also finally enable Britain and France to grant Ukraine permission to use the long-range Storm Shadow missiles inside of Russia. I never heard of these things. What is a Storm Shadow missile? And I pulled up the article. What are Storm Shadow missiles and why are they crucial for Ukraine? Man, they are snazzy looking. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Those are some snazzy ass missiles. But, John Wright, none of the notifications work for anything. They don't even work for my own channel. So, don't feel bad about it. It is what it is. All right. So what is Storm Shadow? Storm Shadow is an Anglo-French cruise missile with maximum range of around 155 miles, which is 250 kilometers. Yeah, kilometers. The French call it Scalp. So the name of they actually call the missile Scalp. Britain and France have already sent these missiles to Ukraine, but with the caveat that Kyiv can only fire them at targets inside its own borders. It is launched from an aircraft that flies at a close to speed of sound, hugging the terrain before dropping down and detonating its high explosive warhead. Storm Shadow is considered an ideal weapon for penetrating hardened bunkers and ammunition stores, such as those used by Russia in the war against Ukraine. One missile, cost nearly $1 million. So they tend to be launched as part of a carefully planned flurry of much cheaper drones and sent ahead to confuse and exhaust the enemy's air defense, just as Russia does to the Ukraine. Why does the Ukrainian want it now? Who gives a fuck why they want it now? But anyway, I never heard of those missiles. Neither the UK nor France has yet to respond to Biden's decision. Last month, Zelensky confirmed that the Ukraine had used U.S.-supplied long-range missiles for the first time to strike Russia's target in the country's east. For months, Ukraine had been battling to push back Russian troops who have been slowly advancing in the eastern Donetsk region towards the key city of Pokrovsk, if I said that right, a major supply hub for the Ukrainian forces. Moscow has massively increased its number of drone strikes on Ukraine. More than 2,000 were launched in October, according to Ukraine General Staff, a record number in the war. 2,000, huh? Overnight Saturday, this past weekend, Russia launched what it's thought to be the biggest coordinate assault in months, killing at least 10 people. Around 120 missiles and 90 drones were launched, according to Zelensky. Attack continued on Sunday, even with officials in Sumy region near the Russian border. Reports another 8 killed, including 2 children, after a missile hit a residential building. So, Russian officials in the border region of Bryansk reported a Ukraine drone attack on Sunday night, but said its defenses shot down 26 drones. Ukraine's had for months argued that its allies had not provided the country with enough support to allow. You know what fucking Zelensky sounds like? Zelensky sounds like a quivering bitch. This guy's like always with his hand out, always like they're not supporting enough. They're not. He is the most ungrateful little bag of shit I've ever seen. I mean, the money that we're giving him, not to mention what UK and France is giving him and other nations, the money that we're dropping into this shithole of a country, and this little bag of shit will continue to sit there and say that the United States is not supporting him enough. Whatever, man. Oh, God. That we're not giving him enough support that effectively defends itself. Joe Biden will leave the White House in January and has been seeking to expedite further aid to the Ukraine. They're going to give more money away to the Ukraine. It's going to be, he's a scam. Listen, that's a guy that if you saw him in the street, curb stomping is the first thing that comes to mind. He is just a piece of shit. I've never seen such a piece of shit in my entire life like this guy. This guy's a bag of fucking shits. If you could think of a bag of shit and then a million bags of shits in one bag, one giant bag, that's him. This guy, he cries. He cries all the time. And then we see all these gay videos of him dancing and carrying on. Yo, the guy's a fucking putz. I don't know how else to call it. He's just a dumb piece of shit. Like, I don't, whatever, man. There are concerns that his successor, Donald Trump, will slow and or halt any further support. He has described the military support as a drain on the U.S. resources and has signaled he will end the war without explaining how that would happen. The U.S. has been the greatest supplier of arms to Ukraine between the start of the war and the end of June 2024. It delivered or committed to send weapons and equipment worth $55 billion fucking dollars, according to the Kiel Institute for the World Economic. Motherfucker in the asshole. Seriously. UK support for Ukraine. So now, of course, Russia is threatening nuclear. I don't know, not nuclear war, but he's threatening nuclear use. So, again, I mean, instead of just, I don't know, fighting back, the shit that, he's like, oh, you guys are going to use this long range? I'm going to use nukes. That's like, oh, you're going to use that gun on me? I'm going to use a bazooka, or a rocket launcher, excuse me. But whatever. All right, so that was one fucking article on Biden allowing Ukraine to use the long-range missiles. My God. Troll alert. Yeah, Water Tiger, we see him. May I see him? I think they got rid of him. Oh, shit, he's gone. The troll is dead. He's out of here. I guess he is. Yep, gone. Yeah, I mean, listen, the guy... I don't understand. I don't understand. Listen, I do enjoy the trolls and their bullshit sometimes. But, whatever, man. He's probably not even in the Ukraine. Falcon, he probably isn't. He's probably hanging out somewhere else and getting toasty. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting their asses handed to them. Yeah, $840 billion. By the time this Master Blaster, by the time this is done, they're undoubtedly, or the Ukraine's undoubtedly going to get $1 trillion out of us. $1 trillion that we can't even afford. We do not have. But somehow we have it. Any other thing, guys, that needs to be done here in the United States, other politicians have to beg, borrow, and steal to get things done. There are homes down south that need to be fixed. The Michigan water problem is still a fucking problem. None of that's being cleaned up, or rather, it's being cleaned up, but slow. They keep asking for money, and people got to beg, borrow, and steal who live in this country to do certain things like feed the poor, or house the homeless, or make sure that kids don't go to bed hungry. It's insanity. It's insanity to me. Monopoly money. Elite Chief, you're probably right. $84 billion, Kitty Rose. They broke it down. It could do a lot for this country. A lot. $840 billion can do a lot for this country. I mean, you could fix roadways. You can house vets, all of the vets, 8 times, or 4 times rather, excuse me. No, I'm sorry. It was sort of like 8 to 10 times or some craziness like that. It was $840 billion. Every homeless vet can have 10 homes each or some shit like that, and be fed and still be taken care of monetarily with that $840 billion, and there'll still be shit left over. You could fix every highway in the United States, every bridge. Now fix, not build. Fix bridges, and yet nothing. You got homes that will wipe the fuck out in North Carolina and Tennessee. You could fix those homes over because they're cheap down there probably 100 times, maybe 1,000. Which, by the way, Twisters, the sequel to Twister, not a real sequel, but nonetheless, that movie had an interesting storyline. And in the movie, after I watched the movie, I'm like, I wonder if that's exactly what they're doing with these places that are being hit by tornadoes and or hurricanes. In the movie, the the bad guy, if you will, was buying out land that was destroyed by the tornado. And so we're seeing that right now with the lithium mines or whatever mines that need to be dug up. They're telling people they can't go back, from what I heard. I don't know how true that is. But that movie brought it to mind. When I saw the movie, I'm like, holy shit, that's what's going down south, right? And a lot of these places, they're probably trying to get rid of people because they want to dig and not be bothered. Because if you have people there, there are too many rules and regulations. Even mining around a town that doesn't have mining or digging up, you have to have all these regulations. Yeah, land grab is what it was. That's what the Twister's subplot was about, right? So the plot was like to see how they can fight tornadoes, but the subplot was the land grab, and it was an interesting subplot because I never thought in that regard of a tornado hits, let's grab land. Now, flooding on purpose, tornadoes on hurricanes on purpose, yeah, I see that. But anyway, it was a pretty interesting. It was a fun movie. At the very least, it was a fun movie. You know what's funny? No matter, I keep getting notifications. No matter who Trump picks for his cabinet, the left is calling it a clown car. They're like, he's trying to fill up his clown car, and like everybody he's picked so far is not bad. That guy Gates, that's a bad pick. Bad fucking pick, especially if he did bang a 17-year-old. And I know some people are like, well, it's legal where he was. It's not about legality, man. It's about fucking morals. And if that is true, if he did do that, he should find another pick. But I don't know. But other than that, I think that's the only bad pick. And then Elon Musk was a weird pick. I'm not happy with that one either, but what do I know? Maybe sometimes you got to think outside of the box and hire people who you wouldn't think would do the job or who are not salty. Because a lot of these politicians are salty and they just want a paycheck. Maybe Elon Musk will do the right thing. I don't know. Yeah, Grateful Prep NJ. First of all, I don't trust the guy. The guy has a look I do not trust. Those charges are bullshit. Listen, if you could find an article where they're bullshit, please, by all means, send it to me. But if that is the case, that's bad. Even the implication is bad. Now, if he can prove that if he can prove that he didn't bang a 17-year-old, then fine. But it's about morals. It's not about legality. I don't give a fuck. I don't care how legal it is. You're like, well, in this country, you could bang 16-year-olds. Just because it's legal doesn't make it right. So, like NJ Preps, if you could find, Grateful NJ Preps, sorry. If you could find an article where it's bullshit, please, by all means, I'm listening. Full of Hope, he does look like Jack Nicholson. So, right, certain, like, angles that you look at him, you're like, is that Jack Nicholson? Yardbirds, yeah, I heard that too. Back in was she 1943? She would have been. No, she wasn't 1943. You meant 1963, not 1943, or 1973, not 1943. She would have been born in 1943. No. Yeah, she'd be born in 1943, if anything. I don't know. I don't know when she was born. Nor do I give a fuck. Garrison needs head of the VA to help veterans. That would be awesome. If he hired somebody like that, that would be awesome. Trump has bad luck choosing righteousness. Yeah. Listen, guys, just because Trump won doesn't mean back again. I like that. He said back again after being blocked. Yo, that is a fucking awesome It stays on my the app I'm using, Ecamm, right? It disappears on the live chat on YouTube. But that was a fucking back again after being blocked. Yo, the amount of the willpower, I guess, to fucking sit there and come up with a whole new account just to name it that's pretty fucking funny. Back again after being. That is fucking funny shit, man. I have to say. Yeah, but anyway, back to the article. So yeah, Matt Gate, I think, was a bad pick. There's just something about him that I don't like. And when I saw that banging 17-year-old, I was like, That could be bad, but I wanted to hear more about the story before, like, listen, I don't trust him, and there's something about him I don't like, and I'm normally right, but we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Rob T, exactly, exactly, man. The vibes he gives me, man. I'm not liking it. Like, not at all. Dude's got multiple Google accounts. Yeah, does he? Holy shit! I never seen anybody with so many accounts. All right, guys. So, next article: Russia claims it shot down U.S.-made attacker missiles and issues nuclear threat. Russian Defense Ministry said on Tuesday that it defeated a Ukrainian ATACMS attack in the western Bryansk region shortly before the Kremlin updated their nuclear weapons doctrine to allow nuclear strike in response to foreign ballistic missile attacks. I am pretty sure Russia is telling them now, do it again. Do it one more time. I dare you. I triple dog dare you. I know that's what they're telling them now. Because if they attack them again, it's on. So maybe this is it. Hopefully. I doubt it very much. But yeah, hopefully it was it. Ukraine forces fired 6 ballistic missiles, the ministry wrote on its official Telegram page. 5 of which were down, the 6th damaged, according to the confirmed data. American-made ATACMS operational tactical missiles were used. ATACMS fragmented fell on a technical territory of a military facility in Bryansk region. A fire broke out, but it was extinguished, the ministry said. The ministry alleged the attack shortly after Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told journalists that the change to Russia's nuclear doctrine signed by Vladimir Putin on Tuesday meant the use of Western non-nuclear rockets by armed forces of Ukraine against Russia can prompt a nuclear attack. Peskov's remarks came after 3 U.S. officials confirmed to the ABC News that President Joe Biden had approved Ukraine's use of a long-range American-made MGM-140 Army tactical missile system, eloquently known as the ATACMS, to hit targets in Russia's western Kursk region. Bryansk border Kursk to its west. The target and location of Tuesday's alleged Ukraine strike is unclear. Kyiv is yet to comment on the Russian Defense Ministry report. Interesting. Again, I don't know why these people keep using whatever. It doesn't matter. The Biden administration has publicly affirmed the policy change. The State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller told journalists at a Monday briefing he would not confirm or deny approval of the ATACMS use in Russia, but said the U.S. response to Russia and North Korea military cooperation in the war would be firm. There are some 10,000 North Korean troops in Russia's Kursk region intended for deployment on the battlefield. The changes to Russia's nuclear doctrines were unveiled several weeks ago, but only signed by Putin on Tuesday, as officials in Moscow expressed anger at the U.S. decision to allow ATACMS use in Russian territories. Again, that use was a straight up and down fuck you to Russia. If I ever seen one, that was a big fuck you to Russia. Moscow has reportedly threatened nuclear weapons use against Ukraine and its Western partners throughout its full-scale invasion of the country. Western leaders, including President Joe Biden, said that avoiding a direct clash between Russia and NATO is top priority given the danger of nuclear war. To avoid nuclear war, I'm not a smart man. I'm not a president. But if I was trying to stop a war from escalating, I would be like, you know what, Ukraine, don't use those missiles. Let me go talk to Vladimir Putin. And we could get, and I go down, I sit down to him. He doesn't like what I have to say. Then me and Putin get into a ring and we box. And whoever wins ends the war. I think that's how this should always be done. World leaders should get into a boxing ring. Instead of costing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives. The two leaders of those two worlds need to come together and fight in a ring. MMA, boxing, jousting, I don't care what it is. Straight up and down gladiator shit. Google and YouTube don't care if I troll number one. Your other one was better. So anyway, this guy's not a smart man. Like, not at all. Oh, for fuck's sakes, he's back. Yeah, he is. Google and YouTube don't care if I troll number one. That was awesome. Hey, his tag name says a lot, man. It's funny. Presidential Accommodation Awards. Putin is a karate champ. That won't last long. I don't know if Putin's a karate champ. Raccoon Eyes. To be a karate champ, you have to actually like go against a lot of other people in the world. He hasn't done any worldwide fighting, to my knowledge. Everything has been in Russia. And if you go against a Russian president in Russia, you're going to lose. Even if you are good. But there's a shit show with the migrants here in New York City, by the way. They stopped their cards. Now all hell's breaking loose with them. Supposedly a lot of migrants are leaving and going to other cities that welcome them, if you will. Who's the Asian mayor? Is it Chicago or is it Detroit? But the Asian mayor had already said that she's not going to help Trump turn in migrants. So this, guys, can definitely lead to some kind of regional fight. Because if the military comes into Detroit or wherever it is and asks for your migrants and you don't give it to them, things could get ugly. Yeah, when you see the troll again, ask him to hit Boston. Thank you, guys. Scott Hummer, Nora Tech. Thank you. Sweet. Right. Mayor Wu, that's her name? Wu. It is Wu because I heard, yeah, like Wu. Yeah, okay, Wu. But anyway, she already said that she's not going to oblige Trump. So this should be interesting. Boston, and then someone said Chicago. Who's Chicago then? What is a troll? It's a little man that lives under a bridge and collects coins to go over that said bridge. That's what a troll is. No, I don't know. A troll, isn't it a mythological, like, European creature? Runs around the woods. Some of them collect coins. Others collect children's souls, you know. And then others eat kids. Trolls. And they, in the sun, they turn to stone. And at night, they walk around. That used to be the myth about them. Wei So Chang. Wu Su Ching Chinese. Very good. All right. One more article, I think. Yeah, this is. I'm not going to read the whole article, and I didn't get the link to the last two. I apologize. Where is it? AP, is the troll green anymore? I don't know. Brandon Johnson, yes. Harold's like, let the black gangs handle it. They are. I think certain cities, they're getting into a fight with the Trendeagua gang. The Trendeagua gang, by the way, setting up shop in 16 states. So that is undoubtedly going to get very interesting. All right, so another friend. I missed your thing, but for those that are curious, another friend is starting a Kickstarter, which is launching January 1st of 2025. He or she, I'm not sure what it is trying to spread the word. So anyway, another friend who's on here, you could scan through the chat. If I'm not mistaken, he's on here. or she, whatever the hell it is, and she's trying to start a Kickstarter. Another friend emailed me what the Kickstarter is. But I know you're trying to get the word out there, but people like to know what the Kickstarter is. So anyway, hopefully that helped. Yeah, it's a shame when you start rooting for the gangs in the United States. When you're rooting for like black and Spanish gangs to take on the Tren de Agua gang. That's pretty bad, man. You know? What is a troll? Boats is asking what is a troll. I answered you what a troll was, man. If blocked, I created another account. Nice. Yo, you got some serious time on your hand, man, to fucking sit there and create another account. It was automatically deleted. That's fucking funny. That was funny. And his back. But anyway. Yeah, it's a shame, guys, and when we have to sit there and like root for the Bloods and the Crips, you know, and the 1483 gang and the Night Street gang or whatever fucking names they come up with these days. You got to root for them to take on the bad guy, to take on the other bad guys. It's insanity. Yeah, Daryl Calhoun. I read an article yesterday, and I was completely and utterly surprised that the Tren de Agua Venezuela gang is in Tennessee. Not only are they in Tennessee, they're in Chattanooga and Knoxville. Now, I know Knoxville's not like the best area of Tennessee, but still, the fact that they're in Tennessee and they were allowed to set up shop. So now, there are going to be gang wars throughout the country in the coming months, because you could only step on so many toes before people had enough of your shit. So, next article, guys. Moscow says Ukraine fired 6 U.S.-made long-range missiles into Russia. Excuse me. Okay. And the Ukraine fired 6 long-range missiles into Russia in the Bryansk area, Moscow said Tuesday, in what would be Kyiv's first use of the weapons inside Russia in 1,000 days of war. The reports of an army tactical missile system known as ATACMS came as Russian Vladimir Putin formally lowered the threshold for using nuclear weapons, opening the door to a potential nuclear response by Moscow to even a conventional attack by any nation supported by nuclear power. This would include Ukraine attack backed by the United States. The development marked a worrying new escalation in the conflict that has reportedly ratchet up international tension. U.S. officials recently expressed dismay at Russia's deployment of North Korean troops to help it fight Ukraine, while Moscow seethed when the Washington eased restriction on the ATACMS use in Ukraine. 1,000 days marked has magnified scrutiny of how the war is unfolding and how it might end, amid signs that a turning point may be coming with U.S. presidential-elect Donald Trump entering the White House in about 2 months. In about 2 months' time, Trump has pledged to swiftly end the war and has criticized the amount that the U.S. has spent supporting the Ukraine. We are never going to get that fucking money back, ever. Like, I know Trump is probably going to say, you know what, we're going to make Ukraine... Ukraine can't afford to pay that money back. They really can't. And though you can't charge them with international war crimes, it'd be nice if you could. Because if you did, and if you could, you can get some of that money back. $840 billion, guys. Gone. Gone. We're never getting that back. And I know some people sit there and seem to think that he's sitting on a throne of money. He's not. A lot of that money was spent. A lot of that money was pocketed as well. A lot of that money was to buy other weapons from other nations, which I find such a lie, but whatever. Let's see. Neither Russia nor Ukraine can sustain the war for a long time, analysts say, though Russia is able to keep going longer due to its vaster resources. Ukraine's forces are under severe Russian pressure on the battlegrounds at a place at about 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles from the front line, where its army is stretched thin. Ukrainian civilians, meanwhile, have reportedly been clobbered by Russian drones and missiles. On Tuesday, Ukraine claimed that it hit a military weapon depot in Russia's Bryansk in the middle of the night, though it didn't specify what weapons it used. Ukraine General Staff said that the multiple explosions and detonations were heard in the targeted area around Kharkiv, excuse me. In the statement carried by the Russian news agency, the Russian Defense Ministry said the military shot down 5 ATACMS and the 6th one was damaged. I don't know what that means, damaged. Fragments fell on the territory, unspecified military facility. The fallen debris sparked a fire, but it didn't cause any damage and or casualty. Neither side claims could be independently verified. Kharkiv is roughly 150 kilometers or 70 miles from the Russian-Ukraine border. Ukraine, in the course of the war, has been able to reach much deeper into the vast country, but with drones rather than missiles. For instance, Russian officials have reported intercepting Ukrainian drones over Moscow, which is about 500 kilometers or 310 miles from the border. Most recently, somebody's city, which is about 1,450 kilometers or 900 miles from the frontier. It's called Izevsk, if I said that right. And most recent, a city, okay, whatever. Early on Tuesday, Ukraine officials reported a third Russian strike in as many days on a residential area in Ukraine killed at least 12 people, including a child. Now, the last article I read, it said 8 people, and then one of them was a child, or 2 were kids. Sorry, right, I think it was 10. It was 10 people and 2 were kids, and this one is 12, including 1 child. Anyway, if you guys don't mind, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever floats your boat. Get the thumbs up. If you guys like the trolls handle, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. Scott Hummer said the charges were dropped. I'm sorry, Scott Hummer. I'm just now seeing this on here. What a dude. Thank you for the heads up. Scott Hummer said the charges were dropped. All right. Just because they're dropped doesn't mean they didn't happen. Just remember that. And I know you probably said that like a half hour ago. But this thing, the app I used, it's pretty slow with the keeping up with the chat. But yeah, again, charges dropped, guys, doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's not what it means. Charges dropped just mean that they came to some kind of agreement. As we saw with R. Kelly a few times, Michael Jackson a few times, Puffy or P. Diddy a few times. Just because they sit there and go, oh, the charges are dropped, don't mean shit. Dan Rose, thank you for the heads up. All right, so again, listen, guys, politicians in the political world are not to be trusted, period. So, for anybody that sits there and puts their trust in these fucking chuckleheads, no dice, man. I mean, I'm glad Trump won, but I'm still wary of him because I think we're going to see a different dude. I don't know, for good or the bad, I'm not sure yet, but we're definitely going to see a different guy. He might be a little more aggressive, which could be good, or he might be a little more authoritarian, like. Right? So again, it's we have to wait and see what we get come January 20th. Right now he's been quiet as well. So we shall see. Working in the White House. I wouldn't last a day. January 20th isn't here yet. Nope. But it should be interesting. January 20th, guys, should be a very, very interesting day. The closer we get to it, hopefully I can get more intel, if you will, on what's going to happen or what might happen. Not what's going to happen, what might happen. But we shall see. We'll see what happens. Puffy won't survive prison. We'll see. Master Blaster, thank you for joining us, and good night. But yeah, he already got in trouble. P. Diddy got in trouble with some bullshit, witness tampering or some shit. Whatever, man. Let's go. The strike by a Shahed drone in the northern Sumi region late Monday hit a dormitory of an educational facility in the town of whatever the fuck that name is, and wounded 11 others, including 2 children, authorities said, adding that more people could be trapped in the rubble. On Sunday, a Russian ballistic missile with cluster munitions struck a residential area of Sumy in northern Ukraine, killing 11 and wounding 84. Okay, excuse me. That's 2 strikes that wound up killing 11 people. This one wounded 84. On Monday, a Russian missile barrage sparked apartment fires in the southern part of Odessa, killing at least 10 people and wounding 43. The number 11 and 10 is popular. Ukrainian President Zelensky said that the series of aerial strikes proved that Putin wasn't interested in ending the war. Interesting. Because, so this is, I don't know, on Sunday, before the Ukraine striked Russia, Russia had this ballistic missile attack on Sunday, and then on Tuesday, they had another attack. And then, after that attack is when Ukraine used their missiles. So that makes a little bit of sense. A little bit if Russia is still doing what they're doing. Each new attack by Russia only confirms Putin's true intention. He wants the war to continue. Talk about peace are no interest to him. We must force Russia, listen to this bullshit, we must force Russia to a just peace by force. That is the most oxymoronic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. We must force Russia to a just peace by force? That shit doesn't even sound right. When I read this the first time, because I read the end of the article, I read it the first time, I'm like, what does that mean? Just peace by force. You're going to force somebody into peace? That's like, not that that's virtually impossible, because it's called submission. And Russians don't play with the word submission. They play with the word peace, but they don't play with the word submission and or giving up. At least Putin doesn't. Nonetheless, guys, that was pretty much it. Shit is undoubtedly going to get out of hand. I can all but fucking guarantee it that things, as far as that goes, is going to get out of hand. Yes, Elite Chief, the arrogance on that comment. I mean, like, yo, I don't know what else to say. I read that last part. I was staring at it. I was waiting like, all right, so we're going to a little bit. So I saw the trailer for Homestead, Survival for Life TV. My thoughts on it is it looks really good. There's some decent actors in it. So I think that's going to be a decent movie, Homestead. Now, they're like, buy your tickets online. But I'm like, am I buying it online and then watching it on my computer? Or am I going to the movie theaters to see it? That's what I'm confused about. But it's Angel Studios, for those that are interested. Look up Homestead 2024. I think it's being released this month. The movie looks good. It looks really good, and it's some shit that we would definitely watch. And if I get to watch it beforehand, I will do a prepper movie critique on it. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Hopefully, you guys will join me over in the Angry Truth channel for a couple of minutes, about 20 minutes or so. And I will have a Wednesday midweek report tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night, I'll be at work, so there'll be no Angry Film Critic. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys later.